You're listening to From There to Here, a Star Trek Enterprise podcast. Hello, my name is Josh, and with me is
Justin.
Today we are watching Season 1, Episode 15, Shadows of P'Jem. Or I think some people pronounce it P'Jem. I don't know. Some weirdos out there.
I go with pajamas.
I don't know. This is on the IMDb, rated as a 7.7. That's pretty good. Out of 1,700 votes. What?
I don't know why. Somehow in my brain, when you said it's rated 7.2 of 1,603 or something, and I was like, well, that's
not
low.
Very good. Here's the plot, according to the IMDb. T'Pol is being recalled because of Enterprise's involvement in the destruction of the P'Jem Sanctuary. She and Captain Archer are later kidnapped while visiting the planet Coridan. Justin, what do you have?
Well, let's see. This has an original air date of February 6, 2002, directed by Mike Vijar. I know that name. He's directed Star Trek quite a bit.
That's familiar.
And I did find a little story blurb about the episode. So this is from Wikipedia. The episode included a sight gag in which T'Pol and Archer, tied back to back, try awkwardly to get themselves free.
That was a gag?
Their efforts ultimately resulting Archer momentarily being smothered by T'Pol's breasts.
I'm sure that must have been very difficult.
Well, there's more.
The actor to handle.
Blaylock commented that one time during rehearsals, the crew played Love Shack by the B-52s and gathered around them singing and clapping while she and Bakula were stuck together, unable to move. When asked if he enjoyed the scene, Bakula replied, "Oh, sure. If you got to be tied up with somebody, it might as well be her." So, he obviously enjoyed his time on this episode.
Well, at least he was a good sport about it.
There's worse ways to spend a day. Get it? They're in a shack in the episode, Love Shack. That's why they played it.
Okay, yeah. I guess it didn't look like much of a shack. I guess that's why I didn't think of it like that. And it had no tin roof.
Well, the whole thing was tin.
Okay, fine. If they just would have said, if one of the characters in the episode would have said, "Hey, it's your tin roof. It's looking pretty rusted." I would have been.
That's too much.
No, that's good. No. Well, now that
Roll credits.
Since we're already talking about that scene, you want to get this scene out of the way?
Sure.
Because usually we go in order, but
no, this is the elephant in the room.
This is like the most shameless scene. So
this is almost worse than a decon.
This was worse than a decon scene. If you don't remember what happens in this episode, Justin just kind of put it in a nutshell there. They're taken hostage and they're tied up back to back, and they have to like try to untie themselves, so that means they have to squirm around.
So she scoots herself around beside him and then flips her body so they're face to face.
Yeah.
And they're working to untie each other's hands. And then they slip and he falls directly into her boobs.
Well, she falls onto him.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. And it was shameless for a few minutes before that. And then I thought, it's okay, this is probably as bad as it's going to get. And then that moment happened where her boobs fall right into his face.
Yeah, he is.
And I felt so bad for the actors.
I feel bad for her.
I felt bad for her especially, yes.
I mean, she is playing this part with integrity and seriousness, and
they make it about her body.
They resort to a boob gag.
Yeah.
And it's like
how demeaning is that?
Yeah, you know,
I know.
Like, yes, they hired her because, sure, she looks good in the catsuit, but she is a good actress.
She's
a
doing
really good actress.
She's doing a good job.
And it's demeaning to that character to do that to her.
I think it was,
and to her as a person.
To her as a person, yeah, because she's doing a great job, like you said, and she's giving it her all, and they're making it about her boobies. Yeah, and I thought, come on, guys.
I wonder, and I didn't see anything, but I wonder
because they were doing so well for so many episodes where they weren't bringing that up.
I wonder if
the relationship between the two of them. What? I'm sure she did. I'm sure she did.
If she just said, guys,
I was reading an article maybe a month back where it was an interview, like a text interview with Jolene Blaylock. And she had mentioned, she didn't talk about this specifically, but she had mentioned, she didn't like a few things that, the directions they took her character.
Right.
And one of them was actually the relationship she has with Trip later on. And I thought, well, I actually like that. And,
I do too.
I can understand the actor not agreeing with the direction of the show in some cases, but I'm surprised she did not bring up this moment because of how shameless it is. Yeah. It's so embarrassing. The fact that they would.
I mean, they never did something like that to 7 of 9.
No.
And they did sexualize 7 of 9, but it was and they definitely, you know, in certain episodes, I mean, gun to my head right now, I can't think of specific ones, but they weren't shy about recognizing how she looked. Mm-hmm. Hell, they had characters on the ship openly like going gaga over her, which I'm fine with.
Well, mostly Harry Kim.
Well, but they had other people.
Right.
There was an episode not all that long ago that I watched. I couldn't tell you. There was aliens on the ship, like they were friends, and they were having a little party or something in the mess hall. And this guy is walking around with the doctor. And this alien guy looks at 7 across the room and he's like, "Hey,
take a number.
Who's that guy?" And he goes, "Take a number. Forget it." You know? Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
But they never resorted to something that
blatant
and honestly distasteful.
Yeah.
And insulting.
Right.
And that's something I almost imagine, even though Kate Mulgrew was not the biggest fan of the character of 7 of 9 being on the show, I would have to imagine that she, being the strong female person in life that she actually is, would go, that's
too
just
far.
too much.
That's too far.
You know, you're sexualizing her with the outfit, and that's fine in a way, but to do that is just degrading. You know, that are we that low? Mm-hmm. You know, and I would like to think that, and I'm assuming Blaylock did not use those words, like, are we that low that you need to do that? Because what's your retort to that? If you're a producer and she goes, "Are we sinking that low?"
Well, clearly
right now?
she didn't. She didn't.
I hope she didn't, because then the producer was like, "Yes, we are." You know.
Well, yeah, because she would have lost anyway.
Well,
but I mean, I you know, this was not the time we're living in now. This was 20 years ago almost. I mean, this was, no. I mean, I can imagine that. Probably Scott Bakula didn't really care for it either, but I mean, he's an actor on a show.
He is an actor on a show, but he's also shown himself in real life to be someone that respects people's dignity.
Yeah. And
I would imagine he was not a fan of that either.
But like we were talking about with Dear Doctor, you know, that John Billingsley didn't agree with the direction the show went. It's like, well, I'm an actor. I've got to do what the director and writer wants.
That was the ending for an episode. This is a 10-second gag.
Yeah, I agree, but it could be something they think of in the moment. Well, it's in the script. We're actors. This is something. It's an obligation we have to do. We have to do what the director wants us to do, even though we disagree with it. And I like that too. I don't like actors getting, you know, too defiant and
no, I understand, and that is their job to do what they're being told to do. But
what I would have wanted was for it to not have shown up in the script at all. Yeah. Like, it's just embarrassing. Yeah. Like,
it never should have made it out of the writer's room.
Don't go that low for Star Trek. Like, Star Trek was never that horrible at appealing to sexuality. I mean, the short skirts in the original series was fine, but come on, guys, this is just embarrassing. You're embarrassing yourselves. I mean, that made the decon scenes
out loud.
I did, because I said to you I couldn't hold it anymore,
and I just sat there shaking my head.
I could feel it. I was like, someone's got to break the tension here, because we were both like, this is just getting worse and worse. And then finally,
because it's building,
she lands right on top of him, boobs right in the face. I'm like, well, okay, that's it. They just yeah. Now they threw everything in the kitchen sink and her boobs. I was like, all right, it's over.
Yeah.
But anyway,
and really that scene, I mean, just to wrap up that whole moment. Yeah. That scene, because that scene is really the one that really puts them nose to nose. Mm-hmm. That really shows that, and they have very, very lightly flirted with the idea of having some sexual tension between the two of them. Yeah. And this scene to me really highlights they don't have it. No. I love Scott Bakula. And I'll fight anyone who says anything negative against
I know. I like him too. But
I really like Blaylock, but they don't work.
No. All that scene had was the awkward tension you would get if you put any man and woman that close together.
Yeah, but that scene shows you as just two humans, they don't have that chemistry. In my opinion, she and Trip have it. Mm-hmm. It's right there.
They have the odd couple chemistry.
It just works. It shouldn't, but it does. And that's what, how many things have we seen about movies where they talk about that?
I think she would also have good chemistry with Malcolm. I think they would.
Maybe
more than that she does with Archer.
It's just human nature. It's just how we are. And those two, it does not work. It's that simple.
No.
And
since we're going deeper into that scene, I mean, before it got really bad in that moment when they're tied together and they're having to writhe around together to try to untie each other, the fact they were stuck together, and I was like, oh my God, I can't believe they're resulting to this, because the whole episode was leading to them having a confrontation about her leaving the ship or staying.
Right.
I'm like, you're actually going to just physically stick them together to make it an intimate moment? Shame on you. I was like, why do you have to do that?
I don't really mind that. I mean,
no, but it was a lazy writing tactic, is what it was.
Just devil's advocate here. Literally, as you're saying that, I'm thinking of the scene from Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, where they're tied back to back.
Now you give me a good scene,
and
of
so
two
much
people that had great chemistry
happens in that scene when they're back to back. And these are guys that had, for their whole lives, basically avoided each other, and here they are tied together, and they're having a funny, goofy conversation that just absolutely works. And I mean, while I get what you're saying, like, or is this literally what I do? I think had they played the scene or written the scene, I shouldn't say played the scene, had they written the scene differently, I don't think you would think that.
I know, I disagree, because Indiana Jones, that movie, The Last Crusade, was building to that moment. They earned it.
Well,
this was crafted as an excuse to put them together. That was not. That felt organic to the plot in Jones.
Maybe. I still think
it's not maybe it
differently. Well, I still think had it been written differently, it would have the scene.
Well, of course, if it was written differently, it may have worked.
And I don't think you would feel so hostile towards it.
I don't feel that hostile. I'm being a little, hyperbolic for the podcast.
I think if they had stayed back to back and then had a bunch of back and forth and all that, that would have been interesting, because in a way, not being able to face each other, they could then be honest with each other and stuff like that. They could have really used that, but they didn't. They resorted to cheap booby gags.
I'm not going to argue with you further and say, no, it never would have worked. I think, yes, there's a possibility that they could have still been tied together and the writing could have been worked better to have it work. Yeah, true. Yes.
Well, you and I have fixed many a Star Trek episode so far, so I think we should trust our ability.
Are you calling us script doctors right now?
Yes. We have fixed... How many episodes is this? What did we say we're at?
We didn't fix... Come on, man.
I really think so.
Our one listener out there is going to stop listening to us if you applaud us any more than you just have.
Anyway, moving on. Let's get into that.
Well, we can talk about the episode, about what it is. Okay. So, Shadows of P-Gem is basically a pseudo-sequel, soft sequel.
I think it's a direct sequel.
To the Andorian Incident.
Yeah.
Yeah, which was, I think, the first episode we gave to the series, I believe. I think so, if my memory serves. It is not as good as the Andorian Incident.
Right.
But it was still, I think, a step up from last week's episode, which was Sleeping Dogs.
Yes, definitely.
So we are kind of taken back in immediately because we go to Graham Greene of Robot Jox fame. Is it Graham Greene?
Is that his name?
Isn't it Graham Greene? Who's playing
Gary Graham. I knew you didn't have that right.
Oh, Graham Greene is the other guy.
Who is that?
Graham Greene is the actor who played
Dances with Wolves. Right?
Dances with Wolves. Yeah. That's Graham Greene. Yeah. What did it? Gary Graham.
Yeah, Gary Graham.
Gary Graham. Sorry. They're both GG initials, so you give me a little credit. From Robot Jox fame is.
What? I love that that's his claim to fame.
For me. So, well, okay, Alien Nation. Is that better?
Some people would know him from that.
Alien Nation. He's playing, what's his character's name? I can't remember.
Soval.
Soval. He and the Federation honcho, what's his name? They're going at it over P-Gem.
Admiral Forrest.
Forrest, right. They are arguing over that incident that happened as basically a setup for this entire episode. The Vulcans are not pleased with the way the Federation handled it. Basically, they're blaming the Enterprise.
They're saying our secret spy outpost was found because you were being nice to people,
and they're pinning it onto Paul. That's basically what they're doing, because not long after this we find out that she's been issued orders to go back.
They're transferring her out. They're taking her.
So they're kind of being a little childish about this. Wouldn't you agree?
Well, even as the scene played, I know I called it out to you that I was glad, because it looked for a second like Admiral Forrest was kind of going to honestly roll over and all that, but he actually stood his ground. He was he was a little more professional than I wanted him to be. I wanted him to just go, "Hey, look, you got caught with your pants down. Don't be mad at us." You know, and that is what he says between the lines. Mm-hmm. But he actually calls him out and goes, "Hey, you did have a spy outpost there. Like, you recognize that, right? You're not in the right here." Mm-mm. You know, he's like, "I'm sorry we were involved, but you were caught doing bad stuff." Mm-hmm. You know, so admit that. And Saval was just having none of it. And he kind of stormed off in a huff. And he said that all joint fleet operations were being suspended. Like, they were taking this seriously. This was kind of a big deal. Mm-hmm. You know? So when Archer gets the call from Admiral Forrest, he's like, "Hey, John, you might want to be careful out there.
You know, that's how he talks.
Stop causing trouble, goddammit. Like, you don't understand. Like, I'm having to put up with a lot of shit over here." Mm-hmm. You know, and he's like, "Why? I don't get it. They were spying on him." He's like, "Yeah, I get it, but come on, it's political shit. Just stop being an ass, all right?
Yeah.
You know, help me out here. Throw me a bone." You know.
Yeah, that's exactly how the conversation
And he's like,
went.
"Look,
you nailed it perfectly.
When you're about to go down to this planet to be, I don't know, an ambassador to something, please don't fuck shit up, okay? Mm-hmm. Please don't get caught with a Vulcan. That would really not look good for us right now." Mm-hmm. And then, of course, that's what happens.
Yeah, you know, there's before, you know, the plot takes us down to that planet where T'Pol and Archer are captured. You know, there's a few more scenes on the Enterprise, and one of them is right when Archer tells T'Pol, you know, "You've been issued these orders." And his reaction kind of, it felt silly to me. I mean, he said he gave her the orders and said, "Oh, you're being transferred," and she just kind of goes, "Yep, you know, in her Vulcan way.
She goes, "Yeah, I'll have so and so finish my scan of whatever."
And Archer's response is, "Well, what? That's it? Aren't you gonna like?"
He said, "Do you even care?"
Yeah.
You
well,
act
I'm
like nothing's bothering you.
Archer, she's a Vulcan. Why do you keep expecting a human response from her?
Yeah.
You know she's not going to do that. So why do you keep doing that? Stop doing that. It's come on, man. Archer is like really.
I know. He's grown up with the Vulcans.
Yes.
You think he would know this by now.
Some of his it's not him. It's the writing. It's just they're not allowing him to.
I know,
learn
but
from the past.
I hear you, and I agree with you completely. You know, it could have been he wanted to call out the fact that she wasn't reacting. Fine. So, a correct in-universe, a set of dialogue would have been for him to say, "Look, I know you don't show it, but can you tell me something to let me know that you care?"
I mean, maybe it would be tipping the plot too much to say, you know, they're doing this because of what happened on that planet. Yeah. They're blaming it on you.
Say you're going to, well, he does say
and you can admit
later.
that without showing feeling to me.
Yeah.
But
I mean, just say, "Look, I know you can't show it, but I know the feelings are in there. Can you at least let me know you
wiggle
care?"
your ear if you care?
He should have said that. Wiggle your ears or something. Wiggle your pointed ears. Yeah. Let me know that you actually care, because I'm not going to fight for you on this if you actually really do want to go. So please tell me.
Yeah, that would have been better.
Yeah, exactly. If he had just done that, and then she could have said, you know, I don't know, been cut off by a call or something. I don't know, because obviously she can't answer that just yet, because that's at the top of the episode.
That comes up later. That would have made that moment when they're stuck together maybe a bit more.
Yeah, there'd be tension because there was something left unsaid. Yeah, exactly. And he wants to know, like, do you actually care? You know, he'd say, "I know you can't show the emotion, but you do think something one way or the other. Don't tell me how you feel. Do you want to stay or do you want to go? Tell me that. And I'll let your feelings stand for themselves."
It's kind of like how Trip talked to her, you know, about the letter when he read her letter.
Right.
And he was basically questioning all the things she was saying and saying, no. It's very relevant what you want.
Yeah.
you know that, but you're not acknowledging it.
Yeah.
And that kind of conversation would have been nice right here.
Yeah.
Maybe not in those terms.
Well, it could have started
Trip
and
did it, but
yeah.
Well, I mean, there were a few more. There was one other good moment on the Enterprise, and that was with T'Pol and Phlox.
Right.
And man, I am really disappointed by the underuse of Phlox we've seen
this episode?
In the whole series so far. He had Dear Doctor, which was the best episode by far. And he's been in a few places here and there, but my memory, I really remembered more of Phlox, and he was in a few scenes here.
Well,
that's it.
I mean, he obviously gets more play later.
Does he? I mean, I certainly hope so, because he's
hey, you know what's coming? A night in sick bay.
Oh, that's coming up.
Well, I mean, it's eventually.
Well, I know it's. I thought you meant like
I think it's
in a week or two or something.
Actually.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's going to be one of our more popular ones, right? Because everybody loves that.
I'm not even going to go into that one.
Well, I like John Billingsley a lot.
So do I.
And I like
who doesn't
him as Phlox, and I really wish they would use him more. I think it's kind of a shame that he didn't get as much play in this first season as I remember.
Right. There was a standout moment I enjoyed. I think the beat by beats of the episode are kind of irrelevant for this episode.
Well, yeah, I mean, until
it's just a lot of back and forth, this and that.
It was, but
I did enjoy when. Okay, let me preface this. There's a scene where the Vulcan captain, a Vulcan ship arrives early to pick up T'Pol, and he's a typical arrogant, kind of jerky Vulcan.
Did you notice his makeup looks a little strange?
Yeah, I did.
He looked a little green in the face.
It's like they really caked it on or something.
I wasn't sure if it was the way your colors were set.
No, I think it was just the makeup they put on him.
Okay.
And what was I saying? Oh yeah, so he calls over to the Enterprise, but of course Archer and T'Pol are down on the planet.
They've been kidnapped at that point.
Yeah. And Trip is acting captain, and so he takes the call. And they did it again. God, they cannot help themselves.
What'd they do?
Trip starts acting like an arrogant, shitty little human. Well, you don't this and blah, blah, blah. And it just makes Trip look like an idiot. Like, Trip is a smart guy. Compose yourself.
I don't think it was as bad as you're making it out to be.
It's not on its own. But when you connect it to all the other times he's lost it, more so onto Paul than anything else, where I just don't like it when they paint him in that picture. And then came the scene which I turned out to enjoy, which was when he, Malcolm, Mayweather, and Hoshi were all doing a video call with, I don't know, the president girl or something from the aliens down below,
right?
The planet person,
right?
And she's saying, "Look, your people probably are alive."
Probably.
And the four of them are standing there going, "What? Probably." Yeah. And he's throwing stuff back.
No. She says they're almost certainly alive. And then Malcolm responds, "Almost certainly?"
Yeah.
What is that?
And Trip is kind of firing back at her the same, kind of in the same way that he was with the Vulcan captain. But with this, he was less arrogant, I guess I want to say, or petulant. Petulant is probably a good word. Okay. He was less petulant, and I liked him better in that scene. If he had just dialed it back just a little bit, it just makes him come off as, like, seriously, Archer would have to say, don't answer the phone because you're embarrassing us. You know, let someone with a little more tact talk. And then Hoshi does.
Yeah.
Later, then, now Trip and Malcolm have been captured.
Yes.
So the Vulcan captain, it's kind of a funny
It's kind of funny. Yeah, he calls over.
He calls again, and he's like, well, where's the other guy? And she goes, oh, they're busy. You know, it's the whole thing. And she played it diplomatically.
Well,
she shined him off, but she did it diplomatically, which I liked.
Well,
she did not
with a little
come
trickery.
Well, yeah, but she didn't come off as
she
petulant.
pulled a Chekhov in Star Trek V.
Yes, she did.
And we can't see a thing. We need you to direct us to the coordinates.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
But she didn't come off the way he did. And it just highlighted to me just how bad he kind of read in that. And I just wish they would stop doing that to him. You know?
Okay. I don't think it was that bad.
It annoys me.
I can see that. I don't think he was as petulant as you're making it out to be.
Petulant.
No.
Penitent.
I knew you were going to go there. No, it wasn't. I found it kind of amusing because that Vulcan was so arrogant and pushy. It didn't bother me that Trip was pushing back a little bit.
Pushback, I don't mind. It's something in his delivery.
Okay, I guess I'm not getting the delivery the way you are.
Maybe it's just my own personal thing.
I think it is. I think it must be.
Let's move on then.
Okay, fine. I guess the conversation's over.
If you're not going to agree with me, I insist that we move forward.
Fine. Anyway, it's a boring conversation anyway. So we were at this point in the plot. This is where it gets a lot better because someone shows up.
Yes,
Jeffrey Combs, Sharan shows up. In a great way, you see his antennae pop out first.
Oh, they use those antennae. Yeah. You see them in shadow first.
Yeah, that's right. You're like, oh, great! This episode just got 1,000 times better.
He makes every scene better.
I know.
You know.
I know.
The way that guy, God bless America, he's good. The way he's able to deliver loathing, and disgust. I mean, pink skin, and he doesn't mean it playfully.
Nope.
You know,
he does not.
But yet, he is able to tell you his motivation for being there, which is, I mean, they have their own mission going on.
Right.
But when he saw an opportunity to make even a debt he felt that he owed Archer for saving him at Pajem, he's like, look, I haven't been able to sleep. I had to get this shit fixed. He is somehow, that man, I don't know how he does it. He's able to balance, like, basically an asshole with someone who has character and I mean strength of character. You know, there's a certain nobility to Shran. You know,
he has a code of honor.
That's what I was looking for. He has a code of honor, just like Quark in Deep Space Nine. There's an episode where it was one of the first episodes where Worf was on the show, and he's getting really mad that no one's busting Quark, and he's he's so blatantly an asshole. Like, can't you get him? And Sisko has to sit him down and say, look, he's a Ferengi, and there's certain things you have to expect. But he said Quark has a code, and he follows it rigidly. And if you can understand that code, you'll understand him, you know. And he said, this isn't like the Enterprise where there's black and white. He said, it's all shades of gray here, you know, and just learn the guy first.
This isn't like your TV show, man. Ours is a hell of a lot different.
There's a lot more depth there,
yes.
You know.
Yeah.
So that Shran brings that complexity to character. That, and I don't mean this as a shot, but that frankly none of the crew of Enterprise have. They're all pretty good guys. You know, very little gray, if any. A little bit comes out later, like with Malcolm in Section 31.
Well, I think DePaul gets a pretty gray.
Yeah, sometimes here and there, but I mean, Shran really.
I think in season 3, especially.
Yeah, but Shran has that like Deep Space Nine level of grayness.
Obviously, yes.
And you can't help but like him, no matter how much distaste he shows, and it's real distaste.
At least he's honorable about it.
He's honorable about it. Yeah.
Yes.
Like, he will turn and walk away. He's not going to take a shot at you on the way out. He felt the need to do that, and I just love how Jeffrey Combs does that. How he's able to pull that off. Yeah. It's a hard sell.
Oh,
it really is.
Yeah.
Because most people, you would either just think he's a jerk, or he'd play it maybe too soft, and you would just think, oh, he's a big softy anyway, da-da-da. Shran, you really do believe, outside of those individual moments, he can be a real dick, you know?
Maybe.
Honorable in his own way, but a dick, you know? So to anyone that he perceives as the enemy, you know, I'm sure he pulls no punches.
Yeah.
So, but yes, like you said, he shows up and the whole episode shifts. And then that pretty much takes us into our rescue attempt, which is basically the second half or last act of the show.
I'd say the last act at this point.
And that was kind of interesting, kind of fun how, what is it? No, not tripping. No, because they get captured. Anyway, whatever. The rescue attempt is happening. The Vulcans get in the way.
Vulcans show up.
Yeah, and it got interesting. You know, everyone's agendas started clashing.
Yeah,
and that was interesting. At least they did something interesting.
Yeah, I got a little distracted because I was trying to figure out what their allegiance was exactly, because maybe this isn't that relevant. Maybe it's not even worth bringing up.
Mm-hmm.
You think? I don't. Maybe I should just drop it.
Tell me what you're saying.
Well, we just said we weren't going to deconstruct the plot too much. It's beat by beat points, but Archer and T'Pol are going down to the planet to meet with the Chancellor, and they're kidnapped by a rival faction, right? That wasn't a part of this Chancellor group that they were going to go see.
Right.
Okay, fine. Rival faction. They're a rebel faction. Shran shows up and says, well, we're working with such and such, who's against the main element of this planet that is with the Vulcans.
But not we don't with the faction that captured.
But not with the faction that captured.
It is a little confusing.
I was confused. I was like, well, aren't they the rebel faction? Shouldn't Shran be working with them? But actually, he wasn't.
No. He would have to have been, because he had one of the alien people helped him. So he has to be
that was one of his guys.
Yeah, I'm confused.
Yeah, it was confusing me.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, maybe it's really not worth
I don't think it is worth
dissecting too much, because that wasn't the point of the episode, but it was bothering me, and because of that, I kind of, some of the episode became white noise a little bit, and so I was trying to figure out in the back of my mind what was going on, and I couldn't do it.
Gotcha.
Anyway, but the rescue scene was fine. The Vulcan showing up, spoiling it, was fine. I liked how it ended. Well, not exactly. I mean, the no moment was pretty cheesy. Well, listeners
it looks like
out there,
they kind of found that in the edit.
Maybe
I feel like.
You think so? Well, listeners, if you don't remember the episode, the moment we're talking about what the no was, basically one of the bad guys was down on the ground, and the Vulcans and the Andorians and the humans have all stopped firing, and they're talking. But this guy, the bad guy on the ground, pulls a gun, points it at the Vulcan captain.
Yeah.
And T'Pol sees it happening, and she's an arm, but she runs and jumps in front of the Vulcan captain and blocks the phaser bolt and gets hit.
I would like to see in a TV show or a movie that same scene, which is such a cliche, where someone dives in front of it and takes the hit. Have it be where the guy getting ready to shoot stops and realizes, hey, someone's jumping in my way, and just watches them jump by and then takes the shot.
Yeah,
that would, and have them hit the ground and everyone look and go, well, what are you doing? Oh, shit.
What would have been like if at the end of In the Line of Fire we just watched Clint Eastwood go by and then
and Booth just waits.
Okay, now I kill him.
Like you literally see him go and go boom. Yeah, that would be great. Like he would literally have to be in the middle of pulling the trigger.
He was
to work
in the line of fire, but he waited for the line of fire to clear and then he fired.
I know. Just one movie, just like with Logan's Run. How you and I, there's that cliche moment where there's the good guy, or he was a bad guy, but now he's working with the good guys, and his partner or brother or friend or whatever goes, hey, just kill that guy and come back. Like, no one will know, and all that. And you know that our hero's never going to do that.
Oh, yeah.
But
that was a good scene in Logan's Run.
Oh, it was.
Oh, yeah.
But if Logan had just said, yeah, dude, this has gone way too far.
Yeah, you're right. This has gone too far.
Bam! Kill her and go, I'm back, dude.
Everybody in the theater
working a mission, but I got too deep.
Everybody in the theater would have been like, whoa, I didn't see the movie going in that direction.
Yeah. And go, look, hey, Francis, she was seriously my lead, into this thing. I was working a job. Can you help me find somewhere? Let's go kill some people and find something.
Yeah. I missed killing
Logan,
runners.
I missed that. Let's go, buddy. That would have been a great change, but we'll never see it. Anywho. So she dives in front, takes the laser shot.
Yeah, but that moment between Archer and Shran, like my debt's paid, and Archer gives him that look of respect, and you're like, okay, they like each other.
I wouldn't say that, but they respect each other to a certain degree. There's
a bit of like growing between the two,
and it really does grow.
Yeah,
I really love that. Even up until the last episodes of the series.
The animosity they both have. Well, not just Archer, but the Malcolm and Trip, the animosity they have towards the Vulcan, kind of sticking their noses and everything, has made them kind of allies. And now they're like, well, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Okay, let's work together. Yeah. It's a begrudging kind of alliance.
And they keep running into each other.
Yeah.
And they keep having to...
His side guy, Shran's side guy, you see more of.
Yeah. And same with Susie Plaxton when she shows up.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So you really get to like it. You're like, I want to see Star Trek Shran. Like, where's that up? I want to say, I don't know where I read it or heard it or whatever, But I believe there was talk that had they done season 5, that Shran would have been brought on
as a regular,
a regular or a semi-regular. Like he'd be on the ship.
Oh, I bet he would have.
Because his chemistry with all them was just too damn good.
Yeah.
And he just, I mean, it's just like with Deep Space Nine. Whenever Wei Yun was on screen, you were invested. Right. And I don't care how feasible it would be. Like, what earthly reason would they have to have Shran living on that ship? Don't care. Figure it out. You're writers. That's your job. Get him on that ship, because Jeffrey Combs is gold. And there has to be a scene where T'Pol and Archer are taken out, so Shran is going to take command of the Enterprise. That episode would have happened.
I wish
that would have been great.
You know, I know season 5. I know it's never. Of course, that'll never happen. Enterprise will never be revived in any way. But if there was a way to revive it, if they can't bring the actors back, make it like animation.
Yeah,
sure. Like Lower Decks, but not silly.
Right.
But just have the actors bring they could do voices again.
Oh yeah.
And you could give us one more season.
Jeffrey Combs
where they could
is
wrap
a voice actor as well.
Of course.
So,
but they could wrap up what they should have wrapped up with one more season.
Yeah.
Because they were bringing everything all together with the Federation at the end. Mm-hmm. I think that would work.
Yeah, it would have been. Anyway.
It's too bad. But the episode ends pretty much right after that. And I like that Shran sticks it to the Vulcan captain and says, should have been you that got shot instead of her. It's like, yeah, well, all right.
The wrong Vulcan got shot.
He said whatever everybody was thinking.
Yeah.
But it ends in sickbay with, oh darn, I guess T'Pol's going to have to stay on the Enterprise because Vulcan captain's already left.
Yeah. Well, no, he hasn't left yet. He comes to get her.
Oh, that's right.
He comes in to
because of Doctor's orders.
Well, yeah, which
she has to stay put.
It's kind of a wink. We know that Archer and Phlox are exaggerating the damage, and he says, "Look, we really can't move her. That would give you enough time if you really thought about it to maybe going and talking to your people and saying, hey, maybe this girl is worth giving a second chance to, and so on." So they talk him into doing that. So obviously we know she will stay.
Well, yeah, that's pretty much how it ends, and it's kind of a cutesy little ending. But before that, I brought up that scene at the beginning with Phlox and T'Pol.
Right.
And
he steals her food.
Yeah, he steals her food. I didn't go into the details of it. At the end, he steals like some celery.
Yeah, he just walks off and takes it.
But what he says before that was, they might be trying to plan a go-away party for you, so don't be surprised. And I was like...
I think they call it a going-away party.
I was like, man, I wish they would have put that in the episode where they actually did have one for her. I was like, that would have been funny.
How would that have played out? How do you see it?
I see her just standing there being, this is not funny. Saying, this is... just everybody else is having fun. She's just standing there.
Okay, this is how I see it. She walks into the room, unexpecting, and everyone... Yay! And they're all cheering, and they go, "For she's a jolly good whatever, all that."
Yeah, right.
And she looks around the room and goes, Ensign Sato, you're on duty right now." Right. And they go, "T'Pol, lighten up. Come on.
This is a waste of ship's resources."
Yes,
something like that.
I see that you've turned the lighting down, and there's a smoke machine. Yes. All of these resources could be used some other way. Yes. And is that the B-52s I hear?
Right, of course.
Yeah. What is that jungle music? Oh, that's old Earth music, ancient Earth. Yes, everything is ancient Earth.
Of course.
Yeah. But yeah, that would. There's really no place for it in the episode. But I guess if they cut out the whole stuff of them being tied together,
restructure the episode a little bit.
Yeah, 5-minute scene. Yeah.
I think it would have been a hell of a lot of fun.
Yes.
So, I think that's. Were there any other points of the episode that we missed?
No, I think we pretty much hit everything.
Yeah. Okay. I was
for a moment. Yeah. I'll say, because I had forgotten some of the finer details of the episode, I knew he was going to go. They were going to smash together. He and Paul. But when Trip and Malcolm get captured, which was funny, it's like they both got busted.
Yeah. Yeah, the rescuers got
captured,
yes.
And their scene, it's brief, but it's played a little more lightly.
Yes,
because they are embarrassed and they're like, "Oh man!" And I think that's not the first time, but we obviously the next episode is Shuttle Pod 1.
Oh, it
so,
is?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's really a precursor to the kind of buddy thing that happens with them, and it's usually like, I know there's an episode where they go to Risa and they both get in trouble.
It's 2 days and they're just 2 nights or something.
They're just being dumb guys and they fall for some.
They get hoodwinked by somebody.
Yeah, but it's put those two together and it always ends up well, because here's the stiff Brit and the crazy cowboy.
Yeah,
and you put that together. And what's always funny, and I will keep saying this, is that it's Malcolm that ends up starting the trouble.
Usually.
That's the funny part.
Yeah.
Is that he was the one drawing the face on the snowman when they built a snowman on that asteroid.
Yeah.
I love that. I love in rewatching this, I'm realizing that Malcolm is a lot funnier than you think he is. You know, he's got a funny side and he's not shy to show it. He just chooses when. You know, and when he gets with his buddy and he thinks he's going to get laid, that's when the funny stuff happens.
Yeah.
So that was it.
Well, you know, I usually give my rating first, but why don't you go first this time?
Oh, let's see. I guess I'm going to give it a B-. It's not a bad episode.
No.
It's just a lot of missed opportunities. It's not boring. So I think it comfortably fits into that B area.
They definitely took advantage of the plot more than Sleeping Dogs did.
But I'm going to give it the minus just because it does waste some of those opportunities, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree. B- for pretty much the same reasons.
Yeah.
Just, a lot of missed opportunity. And I mean, if you're going to recall a past episode,
right, which is rare for
Star Trek.
Rare,
then
outside
make
of Deep Space
more
Nine.
Make more of it. Not that they didn't do okay.
No, I mean they really tried to reference it. I mean it's more than a reference. Like I said, this is a direct sequel to that episode. Yeah.
You can pretty much play them back to back.
Yeah, and somehow give it some more weight or something.
And bring Shran in earlier.
Yeah. God. Yes. Don't waste Jeffrey Combs.
Have Shran at the going away party for T'Pol. That would be funny.
Oh, she's what? She's not a fellow? I don't understand. Pink skins.
You pink skins. All right.
That's the kind of stuff we would have had in a season 5.
Maybe.
The cultural smashing that would happen.
Yeah.
That would have
probably
been interesting.
Well, so you said the next one's Shuttle Pod 1.
Shuttle Pod 1.
All right.
I'm looking forward to it.
I do remember a lot about that one. Like with Shadows of Pajem, I didn't remember anything.
Yeah. But they're not getting any of our bourbon.
Right. I'm looking forward to next week.
Yeah.
That's the name of they named their show after that.
Yes, they did. Which you and I both watch and listen to.
Yeah, it's a good show.
It is.
Yeah.
I like them they have good chemistry.
Yeah, clearly they're friends.
That's just that magic sauce. You know, like we were saying about T'Pol and Archer. I'm sure as people they get along famously,
right?
But on screen,
it's not always.
It's just not.
Yeah,
there.
like sometimes on screen chemistry doesn't translate.
You never know.
To real life friendship.
Yeah, sometimes it does.
I heard that about Gene Wilder. Like he said, he and Richard Pryor weren't really close.
Really, I thought they were.
Apparently not. He said it was just kind of a working relationship.
It just worked.
He said it just we would get together for the work, but we really didn't talk to each other much outside of that.
Is that right?
I really remember him saying that in an interview once. Yeah. Hope I didn't ruin it for you.
You kind of did, honestly, man. I'm kind of like
I'm sorry.
Bummed out.
I think it surprised a lot of people because
I know
it looks
that they were referred to as having a falling out at some point, and I thought you only have a falling out if you're like good friends, right? I thought. I mean, I'm not talking
could
about
have been business related,
best of
not necessarily.
Friends, but I thought that maybe there was some.
Well, he didn't say that they weren't friendly,
cordial, of course. Yeah,
yes,
sure.
but
they wouldn't work together.
But they weren't hanging out every day.
I didn't think it was that so much. I thought it was more of a working, respectful relationship, but there's something.
I mean, I'm paraphrasing from memory here, but it was
that's too bad to hear. But I mean, that's the magic of movies. You know, you just never know. On the other hand, look at The Next Generation and look at Riker and Troy. Those two in real life are like thick as thieves, and it absolutely reads when they work together. You know, you can tell just how comfortable those two are with each other.
Oh, sure.
You know, you absolutely feel it.
Oh, yeah.
Which is fantastic. And I really think the same thing applies to Trip and Malcolm. Mm-hmm. Those two guys obviously get along very well. And it
translates.
It translates.
Yeah.
It doesn't always, but it translates here for sure.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess that was about it. Like, I would be really disappointed to find out that Colin Meaney and what's his name?
Alexander
Siddig, if they didn't get along or something, or they were just kind of like, hey, good to see you, whatever.
I don't know.
When they really clicked on the show, I feel like there was real chemistry with those guys, and I'd really like to believe that was also real, but who knows? They're both actors, you know, and good. So
you never know, man. I mean, that's what they said about Seinfeld, that at the end of the show, they were like, oh, well, that was fun. See you later. There was no like warm attachment or anything like that. And I mean, I suppose.
No, that's not true though. I mean,
I think it was Jerry Seinfeld who said that. I don't know if it was the same feeling for everyone else.
But you can clearly see though, like when he does the Cars coffee thing.
Oh, right.
That he clearly has affection for Jason Alexander and for.
Well, yes,
for
I didn't mean to imply they didn't have affection for them, but their friendship wasn't exactly
like they're going to go hang out on weekends.
It's not like that. No.
Maybe not, but they obviously very much care. You can tell, and you can tell in the goofs and gags that you see Elaine, like she thought Kramer was like the funniest thing ever.
Couldn't stop
laughing. Like she could never stop. All he had to do was look at her, and she would just burst into tears laughing.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, how do you not love that?
Why are we talking about Seinfeld?
We're talking about chemistry.
Okay, what do we give?
You know,
where are we going with this?
Whatever.
Shuttlepod 1, that's where we got on chemistry.
Yeah.
Well, I'll see you in the next one.
All right. See you on the shuttle.